So, investment banks is also one of the important player in this wealth management industry. So, what is this is investment banks? Well, commercial banks they act as retail businesses. So, the investment banks took up the need for wholesale business involving large amounts or amounts too large for commercial banks to handle. So, investment banks they will uh, deal with a big investment or um, the big deposits, while the commercial banks is they are mostly handling the retail customers, but investment banks mostly handling the corporate customers, their deposits as well as their investment and others. And secondly, investment banks they also provide some other fee-based services like underwriting services as well as advisory services in terms of like in terms of merger and acquisition, cash flow management, and others. And so the for investment banks, they used to be called before this is merchant banks, but now all of them they call themselves as investment banks, and their income mostly fee-based income. So, and they are they're focusing on corporate clients, and they do underwriting service as advisory services. So we can see the details of the functions. They help the corporations, the big companies, when they want to issue their shares, the IPO, initial public offering. So when a company wants to be listed, they need to fulfill certain rules and regulations. So the investment banks will advise and they will arrange the process. And some companies they when they want to merge, so investment banks they have expertise and they advise and they arrange the process to for merger and acquisition between the companies. Investment banks also help the financial institutions in terms of advising them to mitigate their risk. There are different types of risk in the financial system, in the financial markets, or in business. So investment banks they will help certain companies, those who approach them when they need any kind of service to mitigate certain type of risk. At the same time, investment banks also they do research on the equity market. They if there is a new company going to be listed, so they will analyze their financial position, as well as they will do research on the market, what is the market trend, and they will publish their research, so which will help their clients. Sometimes it is given free to their clients, so it is easy for the even the brokers to invest based on their information. They also structure derivatives as well as the sukuk, the bonds. So every in case of sukuk, for example, then there should be a lead arranger, the entity or the institution that will arrange between different parties. For a sukuk, there are trustee, there is um, uh, uh, some other parties like the guarantor, as well as need to cooperate with the Securities Commission. So investment bank will advise and they will prepare the companies or even the governments to issue the sukuk or bonds, even in case of derivatives. Okay, derivatives they are risk mitigation instruments. It's a hedging instrument. So if certain companies they want to minimize their currency risk, for example, so they may choose to have currency swap, for example. So investment banks they can help the financial institutions to have these derivatives to structure the derivatives. And finally, investment banks also do the investment management. They will help their clients to buy shares, to sell. They will provide the platform to do that. So they will uh, give the brokerage service as well. So how about the Islamic investment banks? Islamic investment banks also provide the similar service, but those which are in line with the Sharia. So Islamic investment bank also will help to have Islamic stockbroking to buy halal shares and only to allow certain activities, buying and selling, which are in line with the Sharia, like some investment banks, they do not do, may say, some non-Sharia compliant activities like short selling or margin trading. And then Islam Investment Bank also, they provide financing products for big financing products or uh, if in case it's a financing that needs two banks to come together, it's a syndicate financing, so they will help. Islamic treasury products. So treasury products is like Islamic FX forward, which is derivatives, Islamic derivatives, which is an alternative to conventional to mitigate the currency risk. It's a currency hedging. So, and then there are other products like Islamic profit rate swaps. So all these treasury products will be arranged structured by the Islamic investment banks, and Islamic share margin financing. So here the Islamic investment banks, they will provide financing for their clients to buy shares. So if a client, he wants to buy share and needs financing to buy shares, the investment bank will provide that service. As well as they also give services related to hibah or wasiyah, the underwriting, and then they also may provide services like uh, what we call a combination of takaful as well under their investment bank. So these are the top investment banks in Malaysia, like Affin Hawang Investment Bank, Alliance Investment Bank, Investment Bank, Maybank, CIMB, and Public. So as we can see, all the major banks in Malaysia, they have an investment bank arm. However, Affin Hawang is fully focusing on investment and wealth management. There's no commercial. They do not have any commercial bank, but they are focusing on investment bank as well as fund management. And all most of these, like Affin Hawang, they also have Islamic wing, means they also provide Islamic investment bank service as well. So investment banking and wealth management. So what are the relations and what are the differences? Well, there is frequently some overlap between the operation of investment bankers and wealth management firms because uh, um, investment banks also provide uh, financial investment planning as well, and then buying and selling of the shares. However, the major difference between investment banking and wealth management is that wealth management is focused more on personal service of individuals. So, wealth management will look into one person and then look into his goals and advise him the best products for investment. While on the other hand, the investment banking clients are mostly corporations. They are big corporations, and investment banks, they are providing service like the issuance of sukuk or what we call the derivatives that we said. So these are not the wealth managers. They do not have to issue. Rather, they just suggest or advise the suitable asset for investment. However, investment banking also covers some aspects of wealth management because they will help their clients to invest, to manage their asset as well. So after the investment bank comes the universal banks. So this one, term is not much famous in Malaysia, but there are actually universal banks in Malaysia. So what is the universal banks? So universal banking is a banking that combines both the commercial bank together with the investment bank. It combines all together is called universal banking. So universal banking combines the service of a commercial bank and an investment bank, providing all services from within one entity. The services can include deposit accounts, a variety of investment services, and may even provide insurance services. So universal bank is like three in one. Is It provides the services of investment banking, the commercial banking, as well as the financial advisory services. So all when they provide under one umbrella, then it is called universal banks. So so it is helpful because with this merge with this merger, there is cut of costs. As I have said, the wealth management industry is quite competitive, and it needs to cut the costs. And it is a good strategy for banks to put everything in one umbrella so that they can. It is good to get to market the products to the existing customer as well as to cut the costs. However, the term universal bank so these are the notable universal banks like Deutsche Bank, HSBC, Bank of America, JP Morgan Chase, BNP Paribas. So all these banks, they are we call universal banks because they provide all the services. They also have investment bank and as well as the commercial banks and even the private banking. All they put into under one umbrella. So now in the this concept of universal bank is mostly relevant to the United Kingdom and United States, where historically there was a distinction drawn between pure investment banks and commercial banks. However, in other countries, the concept is less relevant as there is no regulatory distinction between investment banks and commercial banks. So in the U.S., it happened because of the financial crisis, and after the financial crisis, they legislated new laws in order to protect the investors. They differentiate between the investment bank and the commercial bank, and after that there another law facilitates for both banks to work together. So based on different ups and down in the history and the legal changes, so they come out with this concept of universal bank. But in other countries, they may not have this concept, which is very, very familiar. But whether we know the concept or not means the universal bank means the banks that provide different types of banking services, private banking, investment banking, and commercial banking under one umbrella is out there, as we have seen that example. So if we look into Malaysia, there are actually many large banks in Malaysia with commercial and investment banking capabilities that are able to offer their clients a full suite of banking and financial services. So if we look into Maybank, is a universal bank. If we look into CIMB, it is an universal bank because CIMB actually used to be an investment bank, and then they have very good retail banking, and then they also have private banking. So we can say there are many universal banks in Malaysia as well. However, the term universal bank is not a recognized legal term in Malaysia. So under the Bank Negara or under any act, there is no such term as universal bank. But we can see that there are many banks in Malaysia, especially the major banks like Maybank, CIMB, all these banks actually they are the universal banks because they provide they provide commercial banking, investment banking, as well as the private banking under one umbrella. Okay, so after the universal bank, I'll talk about some financial advisors. So the term here, the financial advisor, is actually means the firms that actually plays a very important role in wealth management, or they are actually the primary provider of wealth management services that I have discussed earlier. So these financial advisors, so this is a very uh, authentic term, financial advisor. And in Malaysia, based on the new law under Bank Negara, not anyone can call himself a financial advisor except he has a license and also he has a kind of certificate. So the term, this financial advisor is a professional who provides expertise for clients' decision around money matters, personal finances, and investments. So financial advisor, their main focus on the client's financial planning and their personal finances. So may work, they can work as an independent agent or may be employed by a larger financial firm. In some firm there is one financial advisor and he is running the firm and he has some assistants. There are some big firms like multinational farms as well in different countries. And then there are some small farms. So all these firms usually they should be licensed in order to carry out business with their clients because it's requires a lot of trust and they should be monitored and because they will handle their clients' financial information and in some cases they will handle their finance. Unlike the stockholders, financial advisors provide guidance and make informed decisions on behalf of their clients. So financial advisor, they are the one who will make decision. They will advise the clients which asset to buy, which asset to sell, and how to have a good portfolio. While the stockbrokers, they will just follow the client's order. If the client wants to buy this or sell this, the stockbrokers, they will just follow. They sometimes advise the client, but they are not the decision maker. But the financial advisor, they are mostly the decision maker. They will advise their clients on which asset to choose and how should be the portfolio for investment, and as well as they also provide other cash flow management or debt management. So in the context of Malaysia, the financial advisor is a firm or is a company approved by Bank Negara under the Financial Services Act 2013 to carry out financial advisory services. And those who are the work under this financial advisory firm, so they are called financial advisors representative. So they are the employees, okay, an individual who is an employee or acting for an approved financial advisor who performs for their financial advisor any services relating to financial advisory business. So those who work in that financial advisor's firm, they are actually called financial advisors representatives. So they are also licensed under Bank Negara. Similarly, with the conventional, there is Islamic financial advisor. Also, is a firm company approved by Bank Negara under the Islamic Financial Services Act 2013. So they are to carry out Islamic financial advisory business in terms of Sharia compliant investment and also state management, zakat calculation, and others. So similarly, Islamic financial advisors representative, those who are providing the service on behalf of their financial advisor, the firm or company. So they are called the Islamic financial advisors representative. So they are mostly their employees or representative or they are acting on behalf of the company. So these are the works generally as mentioned by the Bank Negara. So as I said, they are the financial advisors, even though we call them sometimes wealth manager, but under the Bank Negara, the term used is Islamic financial advisor, and their job scope is to establish client advisor relationship at the beginning, and then gather the data, including the goals of the clients, the how much the asset you see. As you can remember, in our last semester, the advisor will get the assets, the liability, the income. He will make the balance sheet. He will analyze and evaluate the client's financial matters, and at the same time, will keep into account the risk appetite of the client and his financial goals. And then you develop and present a financial recommendations and our alternatives for him. And then he will also implement the financial planning recommendation based on the after the negotiation and discussion with the client. And not only that, he also keep on monitoring and reviewing the client's profile. So this is the job scope that is defined by Bank Negara Malaysia. So which is actually the core wealth management service. So, what are the requirements to be a financial advisor, or in order to have, a wealth management firm or financial advisory firm or Islamic financial advisory firm? So, under the IPSA and Bank Negara's requirement, it should be a corporate body, a firm, and they should have minimum paid up capital around, if I'm not mistaken, 100,000. So this is required in order to give trust to the client, and must have a minimum professional indemnity insurance coverage in order to protect consumers in cases of professional negligence. So they must have indemnity insurance in case there is a negligence from their perspective. If there is any violation of trust, a breach of trust by them, so in that case, the insurance will compensate the clients. So it is a must under bank to get the Bank Negara's license. And they also have subject to compliance with specified licensing requirements for annual renewal. So Bank Negara has some other rules they need to follow to renew the license, like to go through certain yearly workshops in order to renew their license. So in Malaysia, of course, these financial advisors, they sit mostly under Bank Negara. So the conventional financial advisors are listed under Bank Negara. There are 35 of them right now. And then, however, there are only two full-fledged Islamic financial advisors registered under Bank Negara. They are FZM Wealth Advisory and Aswa Advisory, Sendirian Berhad. So these are the two. They are full-fledged Islamic financial advisors, means they only provide Islamic financial advisory services. However, the 35 financial advisors, some of them also do provide Islamic financial advisors as a like Windows as a subsidiary service. But having said that, as I said, under the Securities Commission also there is financial advisors, but their job scope is mostly on investment, on buying and selling of the securities and advising on investment. So these are the services provided by the financial advisors. Basically, if you look into some of the financial advisors, so what they provide insurance and takaful planning. So what the good thing here is that they are not the representative of the insurance and takaful planning. So they will decide for the best interest of the client, rather than if the client goes to any insurance company, the agent of that insurance company, of course, will tell always good thing about that company and offer his company's products. But in the financial advisors, they will look into different types of products, and also they will look into the needs of the customer. So they will be neutral, and they will work for the best interest of the client to choose the best takaful planning. Similarly, they will also help to investment planning, the portfolio management, designing the portfolio, and also monitoring and others. Tax planning, in order uh, uh, to avoid the tax, or to minimize the tax payment, or retirement planning, saving for the retirement, cash flow planning, budgeting, education planning for children, state planning for non-Muslims and for Muslim, wasiya and hibah, as well as faraid, claim services to get claim through from the insurance companies, small business solutions. So some financial advisors, they even provide solution for small businesses, maybe their finance management of their finances. And another important thing is the family office, that some financial officers, they uh, provide the service of family office, means they give the wealth management services to high net worth families. So they will take care of their finances. I will talk about financial office after this, inshallah. So the biggest financial advisory firms in the US are BlackRock. So this is in terms of asset, the biggest financial advisory firm in the world. And then Vanguard, it is also quite famous and very long in the industry. So if we talk about financial advisory, I think they are the oldest and the second biggest in the world. Similarly, Fidelity Investments, State Street, Global Advisors, and then JP Morgan Asset Management. So JP Morgan is a universal bank, and it has private banking, it has commercial, and similarly, it also have financial advisory firm. Okay, so just now we talk about the family offices. So what is the family office? Well, a family office is a privately held company that handles investment management and wealth management for a wealthy family, generally one with over 100 million in investable assets, with the goal being to effectively grow and transfer wealth across generations. So, family office is like a family office serves as a personal CFO to the ultra wealthy. So, family office is a wealth advisor for a family. So, and the high net worth family, the big families, and these family offices are quite old. In the past, the high net worth individuals and with their families, so they have a big amount of money, and their family members also need education about finance, about and so the family office will take care of everything of that family high net worth individuals. Is even their traveling plan, even their annual budget, education planning for the children. So these family offices, they are providing service for high net worth families, and they are providing a comprehensive service. It's like they are the CFO of that wealthy family. So they take care of the investment. They also take care of the philanthropy, the charity, as well as they also take care of the lifestyle, the staff salary, and other things. So this is the scope of a family office, providing advice and services for ultra wealthy families under a comprehensive wealth management plan. And it is far beyond the capacity of any one professional advisor. It requires a well coordinated, collaborative effort by a team of professionals from the legal, insurance, investment, state, business, and tax disciplines. So a family, these ultra wealthy families needs are different. They need tax. So one person cannot provide this service. So a family office, they coordinate. They have different types of experts. So they coordinate with the tax planners, with the state under planners, the underwriter, the lawyers, as well as the investors, and then someone with the expertise in insurance planning. So they will coordinate with all these services, and they will help the plan for the wealthy family. So these are basically the services. As I said, it is quite comprehensive. So they will help on the property management, managing the real estate properties that they have, and then day-to-day accounting and payroll activities. So budgeting how much the expenditure, as well as paying the salary to their staff, management of the legal affairs. So is any legal payment needed, or in terms of will writing and others, family management services in order to manage the family, even the hiring the staff, the drivers, as well as uh, for the kids, and others, all the comes under the family management services. Buying the needs, shopping, all come under that. Financial and investor education. So these family offices, they also help this family to educate the family members. So if a person, the father is a rich and he is a wealthy person, so his children may not know, may not have financial education. So the family office will educate all the family members about this investment and also saving. And also the family offices will coordinate the philanthropy and private foundations. So wealthy families, they sometimes uh, have some kind of foundations to do their philanthropy activities. So family office also will take care of them. And then the succession planning after the death of the father, okay, who will be the next CEO of the company, or who will be the in charge of the company management of the wealth. So there will be a succession planning, the will writing, and even the distribution of the wealth are done by the family office. Managing the household staff, so is also them hiring the staff for the house, as well as their salary, even the making travel arrangements, where to travel, and hiring the best travel planner, as well as the travel advisors or travel agencies. So these all are the services, but it's not conclusive. There are many more services that the family offices they provide, and this sometimes they provide for one family, or sometimes they for a number of families. So that's why the family office can be divided into two. One is single family office. Single family office is they will only provide the service to only one family. They will stick to one family. So it just serves just one ultra affluent family, exclusively manages the wealth and needs of a particular family. But multi-family office, it serves a number of families together. Multi-family offices are more formal than the single family offices. So single family offices is just like the assistant of that family, but multi-family offices, they are a bit more independent, and uh, they can feel better to different to serve different families, and that's why they are a bit formal. And they also have requirement, and it is better that they can give the similar service. Sometimes wealthy families, they also may have the similar interest, so it also efficient to give the services. And most of the financial advisors, they like also to work for multi-family office rather than a single family office. And this is the current state of family offices, as it is quite old, and mostly the family offices are in the US. There are about 3,000 single family offices, and well, the with assets under management between 1 trillion and 1.2 trillion, and the wealthy families, the numbers of the wealthy families are getting higher and higher, so the family offices also are increasing. That's for single family, and there are also 150 multi-family offices having assets under management between 400 billion to 450 billion. So that is also not that's a big amount as well, to have this. So these family offices, they are the wealth managers and the comprehensive financial managers for their clients. So um, they are also providing wealth management services in terms of investment and far aid than others. So they are also actually one of the competitors of private bankers, as well as the um, uh, financial advisors. So this is the challenge of family offices. The growth of family offices has put them directly in competition with private banks. So the family offices, they are taking care of the big family, the wealthy families. So of course they are taking the clients of the private banks as well as the financial advisors. So they are the competitor. So in that case, they need to compete, and they always need to be updated. Their services, they should provide better service. And one good thing is that in the wake of the financial crisis of 2007 and 8, the ultra high net worth individuals have a fragile level of trust and confidence in bank. So after the financial crisis, the high net worth individuals, they have uh, reduce or they have less confidence on the private banks because of their bankruptcies and their losses. So they more prefer, because of that, they prefer financial offices. So that is an advantage for financial offices. However, there is disadvantage also. Family offices are struggling with technological challenges because the private banks, they have technologies, they have experts, so they are developing their services. So comparing with the family offices, their technology is quite developed. Private banks' technology are quite developed, and they are more efficient. So that's why the family offices, they need to update their technologies in order to to compete in the market, as well as they need to improve their services, like to reduce the fees and to be cost effective, as well as to give a better service. So these are the challenges for family offices, and these are the top 10 largest family offices in the world. We can see Cascade Investment, which has 170 billion assets under management. It's also and most of these are from North America. There is only one in Dubai. It's a Dubai holding. So mostly, I guess they are from or the royal families, mostly for of Dubai, the sheikhs. There is one in Europe, is Atos KG, so they are also handling uh, 30, uh, 30 billion US dollar in assets. So that's all for on this chapter. So I have already discussed uh, the private banking, their services, and how they are taking care of this wealth, and how they are contributing in the wealth management industry, and then I have talked about the operation of investment banks and their developments and the top investment banks in the world. And then I also have talked about the universal banks, and then talk about the financial advisors as well as the Islamic advisors and their the functions and how they are playing their role in the wealth management industry. And finally, I talk about the family or offices that is handling the wealth of the wealthy families. So for further reading, you need to, I would recommend all to study the Global Private Banking and Wealth Management book, as well as most of the informations are in the website in CFI Corporate Finance as Corporate Finance Institute Education next year, and also How to Finance My Money. So with that, I thank you for listening. And if you have any question, you can ask me in the comment section in the YouTube or in the respected Telegram group. So with that, I conclude. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.